Look, imagine it's a Tuesday morning, making coffee, looking out the window. There are 20 cars parked on your lawn. Strangers walking up your driveway. A guy with a clipboard standing on your porch. You open the door thinking, hey, maybe you won a sweepstakes. Or honestly, at this point, maybe you're being indicted. But no, the guy checks his clipboard and says, we're selling your house in 10 minutes. That actually happened to a registered nurse named Karen McDonough in Quincy, Massachusetts. She owned her home for 17 years, paid her mortgage every single month, thought she owned her house. She was wrong, because sitting on her title, completely invisible, completely silent for over a decade, was something attorneys are calling a ghost lien, a legal claim on her property she had no idea existed. And according to a massive investigation by Bloomberg, there are over 600,000 dormant second mortgages, unbeknownst to the owners, that could still come back to haunt borrowers. That's roughly the population of Wyoming, all waiting to jump out and devour your home equity. And this problem just got dramatically worse because the one federal agency investigating these collectors, it got taken out back and restructured. This ghost lien sounds like a Scooby-Doo villain, but it is significantly more expensive, and you can't just unmask it by pulling off a rubber mask to reveal it was Old Man Jenkins the whole time. Although, actually, it kind of is Old Man Jenkins, or at least Old Man Jenkins Debt Collection LLC. Here's the nightmare scenario. Back in the mid-2000s, the wild, wild west of real estate, a time when we were all wearing Live Strong bracelets, millions of Americans took out second mortgages, HELOCs, piggyback loans. Then, 2008 happened. The market crashed. Families went underwater. Lenders realized they were never getting that money back, so they charged off the loans, stopped sending bills, stopped calling. Now, any rational person assumes that when a bill stops coming for 15 years, the debt is gone.
Called zombie mortgages, debts that homeowners thought were forgiven or satisfied long ago, only to learn that they still exist and that they could cost them their homes.
But charged off does not mean forgiven. It just means the bank moved it from the asset column to the garbage column on their spreadsheet. And here's where it gets crazy. That garbage got sold. Debt buyers purchased these dead mortgages for pennies on the dollar, sometimes as little as 1 cent per dollar of face value. And then they waited, like a spider on a ceiling fan, waiting for you to turn the light on. They waited for home values to recover. They waited for you to build up equity, and now they're pouncing. Board-certified real estate attorney Galen Rogers Lonergan, who writes about these ghost liens, points out that a $40,000 HELOC from 2006 hasn't just been sitting there. It's been accumulating interest for 20 years. That 40 grand is now potentially a $120,000 foreclosure judgment. And because it's a secured lien against your property, they can use foreclosure processes in many states, often faster than normal debt collection. Bloomberg spent months investigating this in late 2025. They interviewed 32 homeowners across 14 states. They found a Florida-based debt collection firm called ARC that had been buying these dormant second mortgages and resurfacing them years later with interest. Bloomberg's investigation alleges that ARC may not have followed state and federal laws on back interest charges, and one family's lender never released the lien, even after tax documents showed it was resolved. A debt collector bought it, flipped it into a foreclosure, and sold the house out from under them. And ARC isn't alone. This is a business model now. Buy zombie debt for pennies, wait until home values rise, show up at the door and demand payment, or threaten foreclosure. Your equity is their payday. Now, the American Land Title Association reports that 1 in 4 real estate transactions have title problems requiring action before closing. 1 in 4. And in 2025, reAlpha found that 42% of title defects discovered during closings were completely unknown to the seller. The seller wasn't hiding anything. They had no clue. So if you're thinking, I'd know if there was a lien on my property, well, statistically, you might not. It's like carbon monoxide in your financial vents. You don't smell it, you don't see it, you just go to sleep one night and, well, you know. Jerry Lamerno told PBS NewsHour.
For over 15 years, we had just assumed that the debt had been wiped away.
Then, in October 2024, Jerry got a phone call.
And look, You might be thinking, surely there are laws against this. Surely a debt collector can't hide in the bushes for 2 decades and then surprise foreclose on a grandmother. Well, there were laws. There was an agency investigating this. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, had issued an advisory opinion in April of 2023, specifically about zombie mortgages, these ghost liens. Director Rohit Chopra was crystal clear. He said debt collectors who sat silent for a decade were now pursuing homeowners on mortgages inflated with interest and fees. The CFPB had 3 active investigations into these exact companies. They were the referee, the guy blowing the whistle, saying, you can't tackle the quarterback 10 years after the game ended. Then, February 2025 happened. The new administration didn't just sideline the referee. They fired him, deflated the football, and turned off the stadium lights. Chopra was fired February 1st. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was installed as acting director and ordered the Bureau to pause operations. Days later, OMB Director Russell Vought took over and went further. He moved to gut the staff, nearly 1,500 positions, suspended supervision, stopped enforcement. 21 states and D.C. filed a lawsuit calling it an unconstitutional defunding scheme. But as of right now, every single zombie mortgage investigation has stalled. Bloomberg sources confirmed it. Now I can hear you through the screen. I can hear the skepticism. Matt, I keep good records. I have a filing cabinet. I have a system. My system, it involves color-coded tabs. I love your tabs. I respect the tabs. But this isn't about your organization. This is about their incompetence. Bloomberg found cases where lenders never released the lien even after tax documents showed it was resolved. Banks merge. They get bought. They go under. Records get lost. A typo in 2009 can become a foreclosure in 2026. And this isn't me speculating. Bloomberg, NPR, PBS, they all independently investigated this. You know, I've closed over $50 million in real estate deals over 17 years, and that taught me one thing. The most dangerous problem isn't the one you see. It's the one you don't. All right, enough fear. Fear is useful for waking you up, but it's terrible for driving the car. So let's go full Jason Bourne. You know the scene. Bourne wakes up. He doesn't know where he is or who he is, but he knows exactly how to dismantle a threat in 3 seconds using a rolled up magazine and a toaster. That's you right now. So here's your active defense plan. Step 1, the free search. You can do this right now. I mean, you could pause the video right now and go do it. Go to your county recorder's website. It might be called the Clerk of Courts or Register of Deeds. Find their public record search. It's usually free. Type in your name, your property address. You're looking for anything that says mortgage, lien, lis pendens, or judgment. Your primary mortgage? That's fine. But if you see a second mortgage from 2006 that you know you paid off and there's no corresponding release or satisfaction document, that's your ghost. If you see a lien from a company you've never heard of, some XYZ Funding Partners LLC, that's a bigger ghost. Step 2, the $75 X-ray. The free search is good, but it's kind of like WebMD. It might tell you that you got a cold, or it might miss the tumor completely. You need a professional owner and encumbrance report, an O&E report, or a full title search. This costs $75 to $200. That's cheaper than your monthly streaming subscriptions you don't watch. That's cheaper than the coffee that you buy all year that tastes like burnt hazelnuts. This report shows every lien, every judgment, every cloud on your title. It is the X-ray of your home's financial health, and it's the cheapest form of asset protection you'll ever buy. And if you find a ghost lien, do not freelance this. Don't call the collector. Don't acknowledge anything. And look, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a guy who can read past page 2 of Google. But I strongly recommend you talk to a real estate attorney before you say a word to anyone, because what you say can change your legal options depending on your state. Tell them you need a quiet title action. That's a lawsuit filed in court to clear all claims against your property. A judge will look at the deed and say, this is yours. Clear the board. And here's something most people don't know. In many states, if a lender was paid off and failed to record the release, there are laws requiring them to file it. If they don't, penalties. In Massachusetts, lenders face a minimum of $2,500 plus attorney fees for failing to discharge within 45 days. You might have some leverage you don't even know about. Now, I've put a full step-by-step checklist in the description and the pinned comment. What to request, what to check, how to fight back. Grab it. And I don't need your email or anything like that. It's just a document. You can go ahead and just click and grab it. And while you're at the county recorder's office, there's one more document you should file, a homestead declaration. It's a one-page form that puts a legal shield around your home equity, protecting it from judgment creditors. The recording fee, it's usually under $35 or so. Most states have a version of this, and in some states, the protection goes up to $600,000 of equity. The title search finds the ghosts. The homestead declaration, it builds the wall. And together, that's your fortress. So I've put the details, the forms, and a full walkthrough in the free checklist. You'll find that link in the description. So here's your choice. You can spend $25 to $200 this week, run a title search, file a homestead declaration, know exactly what's attached to your deed, and put a shield around your equity. Or you can do nothing and find out the hard way, like Karen McDonough, when 20 cars show up in your driveway and a guy with a clipboard tells you that your house belongs to someone else now. Your home is your fortress. Check the perimeter. Make sure nobody's dug a tunnel under the moat. Go check your title. File the homestead. Find the ghost before they find you, because the only thing worse than paying a mortgage is paying it twice. Now, here's the thing that kept nagging me after I finished the research for this video. A ghost lien, that's one leak, one hole in the hull. And you can plug it with the $75 title search. Great. But what about the other leaks? Your property taxes. Are you overpaying because your county overassessed your home? Your insurance. Are you paying for coverage you don't actually need? Or your estate plan. If something happens to you tomorrow, does your family know what happens to the fortress? Or does probate eat it alive? Most people have no idea how many financial leaks are hiding in their household right now. Not because they're careless, because nobody ever gave them a way to check. And that's why I pulled this video out here for you to watch next. It's a 60-second test that I put together that finds every one of those leaks. Things you're overpaying on, capital you didn't know you could access, and gaps in your defense that could cost your family everything. Takes about a minute to figure out your score, and then you'll know exactly where to tighten up. So go watch it right now. Protect the fortress.